What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to YoungCap, the YouTube and podcast platform where I interview some of the most successful entrepreneurs, capitalists, and higher ups of companies to find out how they got to be where they are today. I'm your host, Dominic Wilson, President and CEO of YoungCap, and today I'm coming at you with episode 1 of the YoungCap recap. Today I'm going to be breaking down my first ever interview, episode 1, with Greg Phelps, financial advisor and owner of Redrock Wealth Management. These are some of my key takeaways. I'm going to be going over some of the points and topics that he brought up and some of the answers that he gave that made the most sense to me as a young entrepreneur and that I think will make the most sense to other young entrepreneurs out there. Breaking it down in YoungCap terms, I'm excited to jump into this video. Let's get it going. First question that I asked Greg was who he was and how Redrock came to be. Now, Greg is a financial advisor and owner of Redrock Wealth Management, also the founder, which was founded back in 2005. And the first lesson that I took away from this question was about putting the clients and the customers first. Greg proceeded to tell me that before Redrock ever started its journey, Greg spent some time with Goldman Sachs, a multinational accounting firm. He decided to, quote unquote, burn the boats when he came to the realization that these corporations were not about customers and client profit. They were about how well they could sell their product and about their profit in the company. This bothered Greg, and this led him to walk away from a six-figure corporation and take the leap of faith into his entrepreneurial journey, which further led to the founding of Redrock Wealth Management in 2005. The second key takeaway from this interview was when Greg talks about learning to adapt when your back is up against the wall. Every time you step into a new field or you're taking that leap of faith into the entrepreneurial world, there's going to come a point where you have to start somewhere and you have to go somewhere. Now, Greg's moment came in 2005 when he walked away from a six-figure income in the corporate world and benefits, and he had two twin infant boys at home along with a hard-working wife. Now, Greg's back was against the wall, and he had to adapt to the fact that he had two twin infant boys he needed to support at home, and that he couldn't just leave it up to his wife to take care of the family. Greg taking that leap of faith and learning to adapt has further led him to today managing roughly $200 million for roughly 150 clients through Redrock Wealth Management. So for other young entrepreneurs out there, there's going to come a point, if your back is up against the wall and you feel there's nowhere else to go backwards, you have to take the leap and go forwards. The third and I think most important takeaway from this interview was when I asked Greg and he talked about overcoming the challenges of starting a company. Now, Greg talks about facing a lot of challenges along the way on his road with Redrock Wealth Management, but he specifically touches on the importance of consistency and execution. He actually talks about the biggest challenge faced is not going to come from an outside force, it's with yourself. Being able to stay consistent with an idea, following your passion, and actually executing on an idea can be the most important key to success in the entrepreneurial world. There's always going to be the idea of Uber. Somebody's going to have the idea of McDonald's. Somebody's going to have the idea of Walmart. But the one who actually executes on it is going to be the most successful. And this can be the biggest challenge for many young entrepreneurs out there. So the key to getting started is consistency and execution. The fourth takeaway that I took from the interview, and Greg emphasizes on this one big time, is that there are no shortcuts to success in the entrepreneurial journey. At some point in time, there's going to be adversity. Somebody's going to put your back up against the wall, whether it's somebody else or yourself. There's going to be that adversity that stops you along the way from progression. How you bounce back from that, the resiliency that you have, being able to learn from mistakes along the way is going to be key to your success. Sacrifice is also a big part of it, and Greg talks about it. He actually sat down with his wife and I quote said, "It might be peanut butter jellies and ramen around here for a while," which he describes as a tough pill to swallow, but it actually became a reality that it's going to be rough and hard before it gets pretty on the other side. You have to be resilient. You have to make sacrifices. And there's no shortcuts to success in the entrepreneurial world. The fifth takeaway from the interview is a big one because I asked Greg if he was starting Redrock Wealth Management all over again in 2021 today, what would he do the same and what would he do differently? And Greg goes on to explain that the things that he would do the same were actually within himself, not anybody else or a specific thing that he was doing, but what he would keep the same is the consistency, the dedication, the passion, and the commitment that he had when starting Redrock Wealth Management. It was the ability for him to say no to going out to partying on the weekends with his buddies because he had work to do, and he wouldn't be satisfied until he knew that he had built the company that he saw in his mind and that he had a passion for. The things that he said that he would do differently was finding the niche early on. Whatever product or goods or services that you may have to offer to somebody, there's always a niche out there on finding your group of people, finding your tribe, finding that audience that you're going to get your product to. Greg said that he wished that he would have found that earlier on, and that would have been the main thing that he changed. But the things that he kept the same is that ability to say no and get the job done. The discipline that comes along with the entrepreneurial journey is key because there's always going to be the people who want you to, hey, let's go to this music festival, let's go party this weekend. That ability to say, no, I have to get my work done is what sets the top 1% apart from the other 99% that don't make it. The final takeaway to conclude the interview with Greg was when he talked about changing your life. Now, this was a big one for me because as a young entrepreneur, you're always looking to better how you live your life day to day. You always want to be better than the day before. Greg talks about some of the things that you can change today to improve your habits, success, and just daily routines throughout the day. And Greg's biggest example on this topic is do not hit the snooze button. If you're going to set a goal, write it down. If you're going to wake up at a certain time, when you hear that alarm go off, get up. It's the discipline and consistency that sets entrepreneurs apart from the rest of the world. If you're going to take that leap of faith and you want it as bad as you say you do, it's having that ability to wake up and turn off that alarm clock and not hit snooze, to get up and go to the gym, to get up and go to work, to get up and go to school, whatever it is that you are tasked with for the day. It's about getting up and chasing after the day. You have so much time during the day. Although it seems like they go by fast, it's how you prioritize your time. And Greg does this efficiently, and Greg's able to get multiple tasks, multiple meetings, multiple phone calls done throughout the day, and at the end of the day still go home and get a good night's sleep because of how he manages and produces during the day. This is huge for entrepreneurs to learn early on because it is also a driving force and key to success in the entrepreneurial world. And who can learn to time manage their day better? The most productive man at the end of the day is going to win the race. That's a wrap on today's episode, Young Caps. Thank you guys for tuning in. I enjoyed breaking down episode 1 with Greg Phelps with you guys. Make sure that you have those post notifications on, that subscribe button, smash it, that like button, smash it, and be tuned in after each interview. If you're not watching the full interviews, make sure you are tuned in and waiting on the YoungCap Recap Weekly and making sure that you are getting that info, that important takeaways from the interviews. These entrepreneurs are excited to share their info and keys to success with you. You should be excited to tune in and listen and find out how to reach that top 1% quickly. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will catch you guys in the next interview.